Hey guys, it's Jan, Not a Real Farm. Happy weekend. Hope everybody is having a fabulous one. We're back again. Guys, I didn't have the heart to actually take any video this week because we were in the middle of a major snowstorm. A lot of it didn't accumulate, but the winds were so high and everything was just so cold. I just didn't want to show you one more snow video. I didn't have the heart to. So, no snow today. We're back. And we are growing. You can see here, I've started to put another trellis up. And I'm going to be growing my vortex beans across this one here in the front. So those are going to be a really, really long runner bean that I'm going to just pick right off the trellis this year. So we've got lots going on. It's a slow start to spring. I'm not seeing the temperatures really get any better. So a lot of my stuff this year, I think, is going to be grown inside the greenhouse. But let me show you the progress so far. I think you'll be impressed. So here is our peas. You can tell the difference 1 week makes. Some of them are still coming up, but we've got a fair amount of peas that have sprouted. So those are really going really well. And then these are some of my King of the North peppers. The seeds that you thought weren't going to come up all of a sudden just germinate. So I have to decide what I'm going to do with these guys here, but take a look at the table and the progress that 5 days makes. I think my last video was last weekend, so this is basically, 5 days progress, and they looked way shorter last weekend, so sunflowers, we've got beans, everything has come up now. Isn't that amazing? My micro tomatoes. Look at all the tomatoes that are sprouting now. Like I said, a lot of these things that I'm growing are actually going to be put up in the store too. Once I save the seed, we'll be able to put our heirlooms up. Check all this out. Isn't that crazy? It's just 5 days and everything is beginning to... The things that I thought were really, really slow are starting to finally come up. So let's take a look around the other side of the greenhouse. I think you'll be impressed with what you see. So here are my Egyptian walking onions. These are so impressive. I really haven't had to pay much attention to them at all. They're sort of doing their own thing. You can also see here that there are even more starting to come up out of the ground here. So some of them are slower than others, but we're going to have a really great walking onion collection that we're going to be able to put up in the store as well for seeds. So can't wait to try these. So here you can see my vortex beans, guys, and here is the trellis that we've got above them, what I was just showing you. So I'm going to allow the beans to actually grow up the trellis this year and pick from that. These are going to get really long, and it's not going to take them very long to actually grow. So we'll be picking fresh beans off of the trellis. I've got 4 plants, 2 on the other side of this. So we're hoping to sort of turn this into a bean trellis this year. Here's the progression of the grape. You can see now that the leaves are starting to really swell and come out. They're way bigger than they were from the last video. They almost look pink, I guess, and now they're turning green. But I'm gonna say probably by the end of this week coming up, we should actually have some leaves that are poked through. Check this out. Isn't that pretty? Okay, down in this patch, here is our double red corn. So it's taking off no problem. I can even see spontaneous garlic sort of coming up here. Pieces of garlic that I've left behind when I was picking. So we're definitely going to have a lot of diversity in this greenhouse this year. You can see here, they're all the way back to the end. But so far, the cold at night really hasn't bothered them, so we'll just keep going. Going to stand back a little bit. Hopefully you can see how big that asparagus plant got. So the asparagus plant starts way at the bottom here, goes all the way up. It looks like a tree. So this asparagus has now gone to seed. So we should be able to pick from this asparagus next year, but it's amazing. Look how big that is. It's just like a tree. Small little shrub. And then next to it, we've got the blackberries. So the blackberries have decided that they're going to push out some runners. So you can see here that I've got new blackberry plants that are growing. Now it's springtime, so I'm going to give them a little dash of fertilizer just to see if we can sort of force along some berries this year. Outside they got berries no problem, but they took so long that the frost got to them before we were able to actually pick the berries off of them. But you can see here the leaves are starting to come out. They're swelling. And he's perfectly happy. So we'll leave those and see what we get this year. And then of course down here, there's another little piece of my asparagus. Let me just get around my fountain. And below it, here's another blackberry plant below it. So it's sent out tons of runners. It's happy in here. But there is the little asparagus plant. This guy's gone to seed. Perfect. That's what we want it to do. Next year we should be able to pick from this guy too. And here's the roses. Just back up a little bit and see the roses. It won't be very long until we see roses on these bushes. They're just beautiful. I'm getting all new leaves on the side over here. These are all brand new. And then we have our rice, which is doing amazing. The rice so far, all I'm doing is putting the tray domes over that to keep it warm at night. There is no extra heat in here, as you well know, for those of you that have been following me for a while. But it seems to be doing okay. I can see signs of maybe a little bit of stress here. But other than that, I think they're okay. Here's the other rows. This one's actually taller than the other one. Isn't that crazy? This one's gotten so tall. It's all the way up here. So I'm thinking next year, hopefully the two of those will connect. I've got lots of other roses I'm growing too. So those are my favorite flower to grow. Let's peek over the other side to the other bed. And that's my gobo plant, of course, in the corner. So we'll be picking that out and eating the root this year. And here, of course, is another asparagus plant. So it's gone to seed. That's perfect. That's what we want it to do. We should be able to actually pick from it next year. Down below, see if we can move in here. We've got our Swiss chard. So that's starting to come along nicely. The temperatures, even in the snowstorm, because of the daylight, the temperatures in this greenhouse actually held at about 25 degrees Celsius, and that's why these plants are happy. So I am getting that consistent temperature now, even with the nighttime lows going below freezing. They're still pretty happy. Here is provider beans that are just starting to poke out of the soil. See that there? Oh, and I think I just missed some. There we go. And then there's the other runner beans that are going to hopefully climb up this, our little new trellis. Here's our spinach, starting to come along really nicely. Of course, the weeds are with it too. Here is our romaine, and we have some salad bowl lettuce. More romaine over there. This will all be, you can't leave romaine and lettuce in the greenhouse very long. It'll just become bitter. So this will be stuff that we'll just add to our salads. And then this will now become a bed that has some space freed up in it so that we can plant other things. And this is a synergistic corn. Of course, you can see all my weeds because I haven't been in here for a couple of days because of the snow. But the synergistic corn is doing great. Remember, a synergistic corn does not need to be separated from another corn. They will not cross. So we'll see how that one does in here. I've given the corn a little fertilizer. So let's see how it does this year. We were able to successfully grow corn in here, was it last year? And I'm gonna test out these two corns here, the double red and the synergistic, and we'll see how they do. Okay, so here are our cozy coats. So I've opened them up because I know how loud they can be on camera. And if you peek down in here, you can see that the tomato plants are starting to get bigger. And we have cucumbers on this one. Let's see here, there we go. You can see that cucumber in there. So these are artist gherkins, so that's gonna be for dill pickles. And we also have regular ones growing too. So the cozy coats do work. They will keep your plants from freezing. And I use them every year in here until they don't need it anymore. Here's some other tomatoes that I planted. So the transplanting has begun, slower than last year, but slow and steady, right guys? And here we are in the horseradish patch. Beautiful, healthy greens. You can see that I've already begun to have a little bit of bug damage. Something is in here chewing it. I find that happens with a lot of the plants, mustards, horseradish, things like that. You will always get bug damage on them no matter where they are. Unfortunately, you can't escape that when you have a greenhouse, but nothing kills a horseradish. The mountain mint is all starting to come in. My radishes are finally getting a little bit bigger. So hopefully we can eat those soon. And of course, there's the mint. You can see I still have them in the cup there, right? And the catnip is on the end there. Down around here, rosemary. The rosemary did really, really well. I'm so impressed. I mean, there was way more plants there than I was expecting. So we'll see how that goes. I might have to move a little bit of them. Our cilantro is beginning to grow. All right. If you haven't tried cilantro, growing cilantro in your garden, it's amazing. Tastes really great in salads. Half of my family likes cilantro, the other half doesn't, but we grow it, we love it. Give it a try. So I don't know if you guys remember, but I think it was the last video. I was saying that I planted some bell peppers and we saved the seed from them, and the bell peppers were gigantic that we ended up with last year. So I saved the seed from those ones. They were an organic bell pepper I have, and I don't know if it was the rain, the lightning, whatever, but those were some of the biggest bell peppers I've ever grown. And you can see here I've only planted them a week ago from the last video, and they are already sprouting. All the seed that we have is viable, and I think I had about 300 seeds from all of those bell peppers. So what we're going to do is we're going to just keep an eye on it, see what the progress is, and if we do get those peppers again, we're going to be sharing some of the seed, because that was some of the biggest, like I said, bell peppers I've ever grown. And then this guy here is our zucchini. So we got to get rid of the seed on the right. He didn't do so well, but we have two big, beautiful zucchini plants. Those are going to give us the gigantic zucchinis that we like. So I actually make relish from zucchini, and the guys can't tell the difference between that and cucumber relish, but don't tell them I told you. We got our tomatillos. We've got tomatoes. What else do we have here? Oh yes, watermelon. You got to have the watermelon for sure. And one thing that's new for me this year that I'm growing is artichoke. So I've put a whole bunch of artichoke seeds in here because it's coming out of here soon. It's going to have its own garden. This is going to be a perennial for me. But this artichoke that I have produces the seed heads in a year. So we're going to try growing artichoke. If you haven't looked up the health benefits of artichoke for your body, take a look. I won't go too far into it, but after reading the health benefits, I decided that it was time to grow some artichoke. I know a lot of the times we stare at artichoke when you see them in the store and you say, oh my gosh, I don't know how to cook this. But super simple, because you're only after the hearts of the artichoke. You're not really cooking the outer leaves, which I believe had little spikes on them, so you don't want that. And one more thing actually that's been new for me is oats. So the reason I decided to grow these oats is because they're hullless. So essentially you just pick them off the plant, less processing the better the oat is for you. So oats are absolutely healthy for you, but you got to make sure that you get them in sort of a non-processed format. So that's why we decided to grow oats this year. You're essentially growing your oatmeal, right? And here we go. Here's our chia. Remember, we started our chia really, really early this year, but you can tell it's really happy. No complaints. And what I'm trying to do this year, guys, is sometimes I'm growing things, like I said, like the artichoke and oats, things that I haven't tried before. But what I'm also trying to do is get a little diversification in what I'm growing so that, we're getting that amount of nutrients that we need from our garden. So, the same stuff, we grow also like carrots and the tomatoes, of course, and things like that. But I also want to grow things like here, which is soy, things that can contribute to basically an overall health of your body. So that is my goal this year. Besides just putting away the food, I want to be able to grow things that are really healthy to eat. And I do admit, I do a lot of experiments. You see things that I say, oh, I haven't grown those before. But this year it's going to be all about growing things that keep you healthy, like psyllium. If you haven't tried psyllium, it's absolutely easy to grow. Psyllium, as you know, has a ton of fiber in it and keeps you regular. Right, guys? And everybody's favorite, last but not least, our fountain. So that's really it for me today, guys. I just wanted to show you sort of the update of the plants and what's happening here at Not a Real Farm. We are doing a ton of projects, so I'm trying to keep up with everything and making sure that I keep you guys in the loop too, so you can see what we've been doing. But now I got to get back to planting, moving things around, and getting stuff in the ground. Hopefully, no more snow. Thanks for watching today, guys. If you have any questions, pop them below, subscribe, or see you soon.